Hello.
Hi.
Let me ask you something. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Estrella Salcedo. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I've been married for 9.
All right. For some reason, you look at
Yeah.
him.
For some reason, I look at him, or when I look at him, I guess I should say, and I see the grays in his hair, and I tell him, "Oh, we're aging together. You know, I can't believe we're getting old together because the time is passing." And so
Absolutely.
then, it just, I don't know. It's nice to have someone that you've known that long,
Right.
and that they're okay with you changing. 'Cause I
Yes.
think sometimes when the other person is stuck in their old ways of thinking and there's no evolution, there's no moving forward, and I don't know, I think I'll be bored. But my husband, he's always learning something new. He's always trying different things, and so that makes me want to try different things.
Right.
That, inspires me. So I think that's something too that's helpful.
Wow, that's phenomenal because a lot of couples, once they start changing, either one doesn't like the change in the other, etc. But you seem to have embraced his change and he's embraced yours.
Yeah, I
So.
think that's something that helps our marriage. That we're okay with knowing that we're changing, that we're not going to stay stagnant.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, then the final question. Obviously, anytime you've been married long, there have been tribulations,
Yeah.
problems.
Uh-huh.
What do you say would be the product in your marriage, the virtue in your marriage that allowed you to get past that tribulation?
I think our faith. I think that knowing that there's a bigger purpose than just us. I
Absolutely.
think that's been really important in our marriage. Because, like you said, I mean, it's not always all easy breezy. There's times where I'm looking at him like, you better sleep with one eye open. Because we get on each other's nerves. We're human.
That will come.
And especially, raising a child, and it's just everything. But I think being okay with being mad at each other.
Right.
Where it's okay to take some time to just be upset and just process. And that's something that we definitely have gotten better at as time has gone. I would say the first year or two of marriage sucked. I know sometimes people are like, "Oh, those were like the best years," but for us, it was the opposite. He even jokes. He said a story. He's like, "I remember going to Burger King before going home because I just didn't want to go home yet, and because we were newlyweds and we were so young when we got married. We just didn't know,
Of
how
course.
to navigate tough conversations."
Yes.
But I think looking to other people that have walked through that path before us, and so we got some mentors to help us with our marriage, and they were super helpful, and they just showed us some better ways to communicate, or just ways to communicate. 'Cause
Right.
we didn't have better; we just had no good, and that was helpful. And I think that would kind of help jumpstart our communication path.
Right.
Because that's definitely something that we weren't. We weren't taught that,
Right.
and so then growing up in just different households that we grew up in, so that was something that we had to learn, and it's something that you have to practice. 'Cause
Right.
It doesn't come natural. At least for us, it didn't come natural.
No. And there's no manual for marriage, so
No.
it depends on what you've watched. Like my parents, they were married for 40-something years.
Oh my goodness.
I only heard them argue once. So one day I asked my mom, I said, I only heard you all argue one time when you guys thought we were all asleep, and I said I came down the stairs and you guys were in a heated argument. She said, yeah, we believed when we first got married that we would not argue in front of our children. And I said, oh Mom, that was nice, because
That was
I said it
nice.
made me think that marriage was one nice, hello and no
Yeah.
arguments. I said, but it's good to know that you can step aside, solve it, and then come back normal.
Yeah. And you know what? That's something too that we try to model with our daughter, because she's growing up differently than we were. She has a 2-parent home, and so I think for her, sometimes when she sees us, we're arguing or talking loud to each other. For her, it's like, oh, it probably becomes a little bit stressful. But we tell her it's okay for us to argue.
Yes.
We're not going to not talk again.
Right.
We're going to resolve it, but we're just expressing how we're feeling to each other, and I think that helps her.
Absolutely.
She's 7, and so then we don't want her to grow up thinking that if she hears us discussing something where he views it one way, I view it another, that's not okay. It's like we're different people. We have
Yes.
different opinions about something, but at the end of the day, there has to be a compromise for one another, or we just have to figure it out. So that's just what it boils down to. You figure it out.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time and interview.
No
This was
problem.
wonderful. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
I grew up in Oak Park. My name is Ellen, and I have been married for almost 43 years to this guy here.
Wow. What's the secret of marriage, do you think?
I don't think there's any one secret. I think the skills you need at different stages of your relationship are totally different.
Okay.
They change based on where you are in that.
In the first 10 years of your marriage, which ingredients do you think sealed, would be the glue for the marriage?
The most during the first 10 years is when we had 3 kids.
Of course.
So it was, I think, being a really good listener to the other person.
A good listener.
We both worked outside of the home and juggled schedules, so it was important to communicate and listen to the other person so that you weren't stranded at any point.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with 3 children.
3 little. I was really lucky because my family lived in the area, and although my mother was never going to be a babysitter, she was always a first responder.
Right.
So in an emergency, she or my father could be available.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was so nice.
Yeah, that's why they say it takes a village,
really
because
does.
things come up,
Yeah.
and with
No
small
matter how
children.
hard you plan.
Oh yes, with small children they
Yeah.
could get sick. I mean, you name
Yeah.
it, and you suddenly have to be there.
Yeah.
So you think communication is
Yeah.
one of the glues?
And that's an important one in the beginning because you're sort of setting a pattern for the rest of the relationship.
Mhm. And then let's say the next 10 years, what would you say is the virtue that really helps you to sail?
I think the next 10 years, what's really important is to help the other person become independent, and yet still grounded in the relationship and the family. So the establishing your own interests and career path, or that sort of thing, so that you feel like so that the weight isn't carried by one person.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a reason why God made it 2.
Yeah.
Because it will take more than one
Yeah.
to have it move smoothly. And then when you experience some tribulation, some problems, what do you think helped you to get
The
past
grounding
it?
and the communication from the beginning, because you definitely do. If you're honest with yourself and your partner, there's going to be
Oh, yes.
some trials and tribulations, and the ability to talk about it honestly and openly, in a way that the other person can hear you, is really critical to moving on.
Good heavens, that is absolutely true. I've been married 22 years.
Yeah.
First 10 sailed by pretty good.
Yeah.
This latter
Yeah,
part,
there's tough
suddenly
years.
there's some tough communication issue, and I don't know if it's because we're older, we're changing.
Yeah.
But you're right, the communication
Yeah.
is a must. Well, I thank you so much,
You're so
Ellen,
welcome.
for allowing
And your
me.
name?
My name is Winifred,
Winifred.
and
All
I'm
right.
so glad
All right,
you
well,
allowed
good.
me.
Thank you.
Let me turn. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, my name is Julie. I live in the Oak Park area. I've lived here more or less all my life. I went away to college to a different state. I also spent some time studying overseas, but I've been here for most of my life. I work in a library. I have 3 children, and I've been married for close to 28 years.
My goodness, 20 years. You're becoming something of a phenomenon.
That's true.
Because these days, 53% end in divorces.
That's true.
So my study is just what keeps it together? What in your marriage? What keeps it together? Because everyone has something different, though there are similarities.
Right. So I think I've known my husband since I've been 15. Okay. I'm 57, so I've known him for a very long time. And I think that the longevity of our relationship. So we were teenagers together, you know what I mean, and then we lived together for a while, and then we got married. I think that because I've known him so long, and because he's been, like a best friend,
Right.
for so long, that has absolutely positively contributed to the success of our marriage. I think the length of time that I've known him.
And then, apart from the length of time, let's say in every marriage there are going to be some tribulations.
Sure, of course.
What virtue do you think you use? What characteristics really help to navigate
Right.
away from that?
Right. So I believe in compromise. I never think everything should be my way, and I never think everything should be his way. And I think that I'm open to compromise. I know that I have to sometimes do things that I don't want to do that are helpful to him, and vice versa. But I think that we both have a strong faith in God, and I think that has helped us tremendously in our marriage, because I think, you can have, kindness and courage and love and, all the things you need to make a successful relationship. But I think it goes back to our faith. You know what I mean? We have faith in God, and that has helped us to get through our marriage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a reason why God designed two instead of just one
That's
in a
right.
marriage, because
Right, exactly.
there's just no way to navigate all that's around us by oneself.
Exactly,
When
right.
you're unified, you get more done.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for the interview. Now you're saying knowing the person for a long time and faith
Yes.
basically has helped you to navigate the marriage.
Exactly.
Is he of the same faith
He
as
is
you?
of the same faith, so
Okay.
of course it's helpful.
Of course.
He's also of the same ethnic background. You know what I mean? We're both Italian, so we've been raised with the same kind of cultural, ideas. So that was of course helpful.
Oh,
So we
yes.
didn't have to overcome any differences in that arena.
Absolutely. And I'm well aware of those things, because
Right.
I've been married 22 years, but I'm married to an American.
Yeah.
And the upbringing was different. Mine
Sure.
was very different. And things you're allowed to say to your parents, and they're
Right.
just so different.
Right.
And we had to overcome that in the
Yeah.
first few years.
Right. So we didn't have to do that. So
Right.
that helped. a
It
lot.
definitely adds to the ease.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.